First time I knew Birchwater wasn't going to be quiet. It was the second the cruisers rolled up. Denise Harrow had just called screaming for a surprise inspection of our lake cabin. My wife was standing there, steady as a flag in wind. You can't see, and those officers took one look at her ID and straightened like someone tugged a wire through their spines. One of them said, "Ma'am," in that way that carries history, and Denise, queen of the clipboard, actually froze. "My name is Lucas Reed. I teach American history at Birchwater High, and I moved to Cedar Lake with my wife Maya for the same reasons everybody does. Loons at night, breath in the morning quiet. That doesn't feel like surrender. And if this sounds like a neighborhood story about paint colors and mailboxes, hang on, because this one turns fast." Our welcome committee was Denise at the community gate pearls measuring tape smile, like a porch light with a bad wire. "Compliance pre-check," she chirps, sliding a stack of forms that read like a tax code. "Had a baby with a ransom note. $500 architectural deposit. $200 move-in assessment. Cash or certified check rules are rules." Maya's voice stayed soft. "Can you show me where those fees are authorized in the bylaws and the date members approve them?" And the smile on Denise's face twitched just a millimeter, like she wasn't used to prey asking for receipts. "This isn't the military," she said, eyeing Maya's slight limp, like it was an invitation. "Everyone follows the same rules no matter their situation." Situation. The way she rolled it in her mouth, you know what I mean. Maya lifted her phone like a pen hit record, whispered chain of custody, and we started our little tour of humiliation. Boxes too heavy for anyone with a leg injury. 90-degree heat and no sitting allowed, running commentary about how some people claim injuries for special treatment. Meanwhile, blinds flickered across the street like a nature documentary, and one older woman stood on her porch, arms, folded eyes sharp and still. Later, I'd learn her name. Ruth Alvarez, 4 decades as a court reporter, hearing everything, forgetting nothing. That night, Ruth knocked with a manila folder and a look that said she didn't come for cookies. "I watched her hurt you on purpose," she told Maya, laying down notes with timestamps and quotes. "If you fight, fight with paper." The next morning at 7 on the dot, Denise was back like she'd slept in her car. Comprehensive property analysis. She sang 15 deficiencies, $2,400 due in 48 hours, and I swear she dinged us for paint, 3 shades too warm, and a mailbox 7/10 of an inch too tall, because cruelty wears a measuring tape when it wants to look respectable. Maya stepped out careful on her bad leg, and you could see Denise clock it predator bright. Then Ruth strolled over in canvas sneakers, and Sunday. "Calm morning, Denise. Interesting to hear you talk. Money with a $6,000 gap in your posted budget. Administrative fees must be hungry. And if you could bottle the color that drained from Denise's face, you could paint a ghost." Ruth showed us what she'd printed. Maintenance charges with no maintenance, an emergency fund that seemed to fix board members' personal problems. And that's when the game changed from annoying to ugly. Ugly is your principal calling you in with a stack of papers thick enough to level a table, voice tight with protocol. "Luke, we received reports about your home. Photos of our cabin edited to look like a compound, audio sliced to sound like we were prepping for a standoff, lines about unstable domestic situations and potential risk to students. It was so polished, it almost made me laugh. Then I remembered my mortgage and felt my stomach drop." Yeah, that happened. Maya didn't flinch. She mapped a timeline on a legal pad and said, "Fabrication leaves fingerprints, and that same afternoon, our neighbor Noah Kim knocked with a laptop and the energy of a man who doesn't like bullies. Metadata's a circus," he said, showing us software signatures and timestamps. Photos altered with Pro Tools. Audio spliced from 2 days' same IP bounce pattern. Whoever did this knows just enough to be dangerous and not enough to be invisible. And watching Maya study his screen was like watching a surgeon trace arteries. Then the online storm hit the way gossip always does, faster than facts, louder than doubt. A slick little video with ominous music captioned, "Dangerous Veteran Threatens." Elderly resident sock puppet accounts created last week, pushing it like they were lifelong neighbors, phone lighting up at 2 a.m., with strangers who wanted to feel useful by being cruel. Ruth showed up again with screenshots and account maps from her cybersecurity nephew. Half these profiles were born yesterday. Same provider, same cadence, and we covered the kitchen table in sticky notes like a crime show. Fees, humiliation, financial, squeeze, job attack, reputation attack. Then, the dog whistle. Coordinated, not chaotic by design. The apology from my district IT came quick, but Denise grew 3 new heads. Complaints to the state board. The DA even a letter that looked federal until a real federal office looked at it and laughed. Hydra math cut 1 grow 3. Through it, Maya kept making calls, phrases drifting through the room like weather. Domestic threat patterns cleared contractor escalation sequence. She had a little black box with commendations I didn't recognize, and 1 photo of a team whose faces were blurred, and still she never bragged, never even breathed the word brag. Then came the inspection call. Denise dialing 911, like the HOA handbook had a chapter called "Summon the State Cops at Our Steps 1. Bored, 1 hungry, and Maya hands over her ID. The officer's eyebrows move first, then his shoulders. He steps away to verify voice drops 3 degrees. When he comes back, the posture's changed. Not a suspect now. Someone you stand straight for. "Ma'am, I need to confirm a few details about your service," he says. "Quiet was your call sign, Kestrel 9. And Maya just nods once, steady as bedrock. Denise tries to wedge herself back in. I am the president of this community and force our rules. And the officer looks at her, then at Maya, then Mecca, like he finally solved the sentence that had been giving him a headache all week. "We're going to review documentation before we take any action today." Ruth slides in with the binder that had been getting thicker by the hour. Officer organized record of harassment, discrimination, and irregularities tied to Ms. Harrow. Dates, witnesses. Screenshots a $6,000 discrepancy in posted budgets. And he flips reads, asks a few simple questions that matter more than speeches. Then he asks Denise, the only one that counts, "Do you have the bylaw vote authorizing the fees you collected?" And she sputters because tyrants love rules, until the rules look back. What followed wasn't fireworks. It was a slow, steady burn. Officer Grant Walker, that was his name, called his liaison. Unmarked sedans began to appear. Suits with government shoes asked boring questions. And Denise tried her last move, filing a criminal complaint, accusing Maya of intimidation. Grant came to follow up, checked the ID again. Not like a challenge, but like a man making sure he is in the presence of the person he thinks he is. Then he looked me in the eye, with that battlefield honesty. "You can't fake Mr. Reed off the record. My unit used intel from Kestrel 9 in Kandahar. We never knew her name. We know it now." And outside on the lawn, with half the neighborhood pretending not to watch, he told Denise she needed to remain available for questioning regarding cyberstalking, a government contractor filing false reports, and misuse of community funds. You could feel the block exhale. People who once orbited Denise like she was a small sun suddenly found their shoes fascinating. A man took off his hat, like apology could be an outfit. Then Grant said it where everyone could hear Lieutenant Colonel Reed on behalf of the folks who benefited from your work, without ever knowing your name. I'm sorry for what you've dealt with here, and Denise yelped about military cover-ups, while Ruth handed over her complete file, and Noah printed metadata like a diner menu. Denise got escorted away without cuffs, while the investigation did what investigations do: moved slow, moved forward. Months later, the embezzlement patterns in the HOA books were math. No one could argue with the fabricated evidence, in my case, turned into Exhibit A for coordinated harassment, and the part that made my skin prickle showed up in briefing notes. Similar tactics in 3 towns, same neat cruelty wrapped in the polite language of standards. Maya took a contract as a senior analyst to help identify those patterns, find people like Denise before they turn paint chips into weapons. And Ruth got a small plaque and a very large thank you from families who needed a neighbor with a spine of rebar. Birchwater elected a new board that talks about transparency. Like it isn't a threat, added explicit protections for residents with disabilities and service-connected injuries, and made a family recognition day that's actually about families instead of photo ops. I got a written apology from the district and a promotion to department chair, rare as a snow day in June, and my students, God bless them, started calling me Mr. Reed the conspiracy threat with a grin that said, "We're with you, coach. If you're waiting for a clean bow, I wanted that too." But 6 months after the hearings and handshakes, Maya found a letter at the bottom of the last evidence box tucked between receipts and a charity program, addressed to a man with a name we recognized from a family that left after their life got quietly dismantled. Not a confession. Instructions, meeting places, burner numbers, story phrasing for law enforcement. So concern. Sounds official, a playbook. They're still out there, Maya said. Not dramatic, just true. Next one won't have a clipboard. They'll show up softer. I replay the salute sometimes. That quick straightening that small word. Ma'am, that carried more weight than any speech. And I think about attention. Who gets it? Who is believed? Who has to carry a binder to be treated like a neighbor? We won this round with paper, and people who signed their names, and a cop who remembered a call sign, and the lives tied to it. But the bigger question sits right here with all of us. Where do you draw the line between standards and stalking? Have you seen prejudice dress up as policy? Did the salute feel right to you, or did it cross a line you worry about? Drop your take in the comments. Tell me your porch story. Tell me where you stood your ground and how it ended. Because someone out there is holding a binder tonight and wondering if anyone will show up and stand straight beside them.